So is it better if I talk in the microphone? Yeah? Okay. Oh, man. All right. Yes, I'm Kinsey. I am from Denver, Colorado. When I'm not writing code, I am either mentoring or I'm outside fly fishing. I don't know if any of you have ever fly fished, but I love it. I see a couple of fish. I really enjoy doing it. It's a super challenging sport and a great way for me to not be in front of my computer. I can't answer Slack messages. I can't stare at a screen, so I really like doing it. And I just want to show a couple pictures of Colorado. I think it's an awesome place, and I love when people show me pictures from where they're from. This is me backpacking this summer with my dog. She has her little backpack. We like to float down the river a lot. This is a lake I hiked to and fished this summer. That's the same lake with my dog. But I really like Denver. It has a really great mix of, in the city you have an awesome tech scene, and then outside of the city you're in the most beautiful places in the United States. So yeah, anyways, I don't know why I'm plugging Denver, but I love it. So I work for a company in Denver called Go Spot Check, and we're a startup, and every year we do a company retreat and we go to Vail, which is in the mountains in Colorado. And we just went a couple weeks ago, and this is a photo of us on top of Vail Mountain there. So we're getting really big. I started when there were about 10 employees there. I was the first girl to work there, and now we have a lot, and it's just been so incredible to see us grow this way, but also to see how the software has grown. I also mentor for Block, which is an online code school based in San Francisco. One of my students is in the audience, so I'm super excited that she's here, as well as some of my other colleagues. It's a really great program, and I really enjoy mentoring on top of writing code every day. I also co-founded Kubmo, which is a nonprofit organization that builds and teaches technology curriculum around the world. So my best friend and my best friend is a designer, and we started this, and we've gotten to travel all over the world and teach women how to write code and how to start their own ventures, and it's been super awesome and super rewarding. But I'm going to stop talking about myself. So the world sucks right now, or at least I personally think so. I think it's really shitty. The dog agrees with me. Good dog. We're dealing with hurricanes that we've never seen before, awful, racist hate things, earthquakes, and refugee situations like the one here in Syria in this photo, DACA being rescinded. Wildfires. My family lives in Montana, and they've been really affected by the wildfires there, and it's burned a lot of a very special place to me, which is Glacier National Park, and it's been super sad. Obviously, climate change, floods in India that a lot of people aren't talking about because of what's happening here in the U.S., the threat of nuclear war, and then what most recently just happened in Las Vegas, which was absolutely horrible. So I'm going to copy Ernie, and I'm going to tell a story, but I don't want to depress you too much. This is a kind of happy story. So when I was 18, I had the opportunity to travel to Kolkata, India. Has anyone ever been there? Okay, yeah, hi. Yeah, so I got to go, it was almost 10 years ago, wow, I'm getting old, on a medical mission. And I had never been further than Europe. I traveled all over North America, but I was super excited to go on this trip. I thought it was super cool. I was really into Bollywood films in high school, so I thought that's what I was going to get, this awesome Bollywood film. I'm going to be in these gorgeous clothes, singing around the streets of Kolkata. I was really wrong. When I got on the bus after the airport, I freaked out because there were people all over the sidewalks, laying on the sidewalks, and I'm like, are people dead? I was so confused. And then I was told that those were people sleeping because they didn't have homes to sleep in. So, right when I got there, I was exposed to poverty that I had never even imagined was possible, and it was so eye-opening. It didn't smell very good. I had never seen anything like it. I actually saw dead children on the sidewalk, which really freaked me out. This is not a picture of a dead child, by the way. He's sleeping. But I volunteered at Mother Teresa's house for the dying and the destitute, and I had nightmares from what I saw there for a really long time after that. So it was a really good experience for me, obviously, because it really opened my eyes. But I got to meet a lot of amazing people at the hospital where I was volunteering at. This is a picture of me with some of the children there who were waiting for surgery. And while I was in this hospital, I met this amazing woman from Bangladesh. And I can't remember her name, but I was lucky enough to have a translator, so she told me her story. And healthcare was non-existent where she lived in Bangladesh, and she had lost 2 children during childbirth. And she had so many medical questions for me, like basic health questions, and luckily they were pretty basic, so I could answer all of them. We really had a bond. Like, I cried when she told me her story, and we got to hang out a lot the next couple of days while her son was in surgery, so it was really, really cool to hear her story. So I just remember thinking how lucky I felt to have access to healthcare and to have, education, basic education and health, and to grow up where I did. And yeah, my eyes truly were open for the first time. So a couple months ago, I stumbled across this article about an app called the Maya app. And it's an Android app, and it was developed by female engineers and doctors and entrepreneurs. And basically, it allows women to post questions anonymously, whether it's health, whether it's legal, or psychological issues. And then within 48 hours, experts will respond to like a personal, tailored answer. And this app is specifically, for women in Bangladesh. It was based on this highly successful web application that launched in 2015. Basically, you log in anonymously so no one knows who you are, and you're able to ask any question that you want. So you can ask in both English and Bangla, and you will get a response within 2 days. So this app really aims to bridge the digital divide by providing information to women and empowering women of all walks of life in Bangladesh. So I asked myself, I'm like, do people really have cell phones? Do people who are really poor in Bangladesh have access to them? And I found that in 2015, 130 million people, or 130 million cell phones users in Bangladesh, and that was in 2015, so I'm sure that's tripled or what, I don't know how much it is now, but I couldn't find any recent data. So yeah, everyone does have access to cell phones. And the Maya app has between 50,000 and 100,000 downloads. I wish Google Play could give you a little more accurate of a number, but this is what I found on the App Store, which is really cool. And I could not stop thinking about this woman that I met in Bangladesh and how much she could have benefited from this app when I met her back in 2008. So I just wish I had a way to get a hold of her to see if she was using this. And reading this article and finding this a couple months ago really struck a chord with me and made me start thinking how important this stuff is and how apps like this are really, making a difference in the world. And I really think that these are the types of problems that we should be solving. And these are the apps that we should be building. And this is the code that we should be writing. But, we're kind of stuck in this world where we want to build apps where you can put puppy dog ears on your face. And I don't know if anyone heard about this face app, but you could, it's been shut down, but you could change your race. It had filters for your race. So here you can see Ethan Booker made himself white on this app. So, controversial things like that. And then how many to-do apps and calculator apps and weather apps are in the App Store? Like, why do we keep building these as side projects? And don't get me wrong, like this beer app seems awesome, and I love social media, but I need a reminder every once in a while that there are much bigger problems out there to solve, and that we have the opportunity and the power to solve them. And we keep building software that just makes these rich companies richer. And I truly believe that we have the power to do something about it. So the CEO of Twilio has said this, that a lot of smart people told him in the beginning that developers don't really have any power. So I don't know if you read this quote, it just makes me think like, okay, so we're just the code monkeys, right? We get a pivotal tracker story or a Jira story, whatever you guys are using, and that's, what we do. But I really think that we have all the power. If I could evil laugh, I would evil laugh right now, but I can't. So I really do think that we have a lot of power as developers. not only do we have the skills and the knowledge to build these change agents, we have disposable incomes. We're really lucky to have the jobs that we do. We're in very high demand. So, we can actually do something about these problems. So I really think that we should be using it for good. And I have a couple apps to show you guys to maybe inspire you all a little bit. The first one is tackling financial literacy and financial problems and teaching children how to save money, because we all know that millennials can't save money. And MoneyThink is an app. It teaches low-income students in rural Chicago about how to make smart financial decisions. It's a really cool app. They gamified the app, so it's fun and engaging. It also has social media-like elements, so you can share and like, and your friends can comment on it. And students can socialize and validate their financial decisions. So I think that's a really cool app that's out there that's doing something cool. Another one is government accountability. So there's an issue in India where doctors and healthcare workers are absent in rural areas. They have clinics and they just won't show up. And we have people coming from different areas and paying a lot of money to them and taking a day off work to go to these places to get healthcare, and there's no one there when they get there. So they waste all this money and time. But now there's a mobile app where they can actually report when someone isn't there, and it's actually holding the government accountable now to do what they say they're going to do. Another issue is texting while driving. And we all know that this is a problem. 1.6 million crashes every year, which is insane, and 1 in 4 car accidents are caused by texting. When I was doing this research, I was like, oh shit, I cannot text while I drive. It really reaffirmed that for me. But I kind of actually am going to get this app because it's really cool. It blocks your phone use while you're driving to prevent an accident. It lets people that you know that you arrive safely, and it prevents any cell phone distractions. It's called the Lifesaver app, which I think is pretty cool. Another thing, carbon monitoring, and carbon monitoring is crucial for reducing and slowing climate change, which I wasn't aware of before. It's a really cool thing. So the Surrey tribe in the Amazon forest is using this Android device to do data collection of carbon in their forests. I was watching a video on it, and this is a screenshot I took from that video. But they are on the forefront of climate change initiatives, and it's really cool because they live in these forests, and they have never had any connection to the outside world before, and now they're just sending us all of this carbon data, which is really awesome, and all thanks to this app that they have on an Android device. So I have a little video that I'm going to show, but basically it's about these 5 young women in India who are doing really awesome things. We'll see if I can get the video to work. I'm hoping you might want to plug your ears if it's going to be really loud. I don't know. Is it too loud? I don't know how to turn it down. I don't know how to turn it down. Let's see it over here.
मम्मी से 6:30 बजे तक के 5 से निकलती और 5:30 बजे आती है। तो मेरी मम्मी ने ऐसे बहुत सारे केसेस देखा है जो लड़के और औरतों के साथ छेड़छाड़ या बदतमीजी हुई है। हमारे कम्युनिटी में इस चीज़ की ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम है। टेक्नोवेशन के जरिए से हमने ऐप बनाया है जो कि वुमेन सेफ्टी के लिए इस्तेमाल होगा। हमने IT ऐप इन्वेंटर की मदद ली है। हमारे ऐप का नाम है वुमेन फाइटर। इस ऐप को इस्तेमाल करने से डिक्रीजिंग नंबर ऑफ violence against women, job molestation, rape, child abuse, women can move freely of day or night time, safe communities, safe cities. लड़की और औरत का लोग आती है कि उसे घर से काम करने घर से काम करवाया जाता है, उनकी परेशानी लगाई जाती है और उनके भाई बहन को संभालने का काम करती है। एक मामले में ऐप बनाया जिसका नाम है इसमें 4 फीचर्स हैं। पहला है हिंदी, दूसरा फीचर है इंग्लिश, लर्न इंग्लिश। तीसरा फीचर है मैथ में बुरा भाग जोड़ना घटाना तो घर बैठे।
Okay, I'm going to stop it there and go back. So yeah, that was just a quick video talking about these 5 girls who are making a difference in their communities. And as you saw, it's called Technovation, and it invites girls from all over the world to learn and apply these skills to solve real-world problems. There's a documentary on Netflix, and I know everyone has Netflix in here or uses their friends' a login. But if you want to watch it, it's pretty cool. It's inspiring. It's really good. I enjoyed it. And then you can also mentor and volunteer and be an ambassador for this program, which is really cool. So another thing is obviously climate change. And a big thing in the space right now is computer vision. So I'm lucky enough to I actually work on computer vision stuff at my current job right now. I'm on the R&D team at the company that I work at. So we're, looking at bottles and cold boxes and doing image recognition with them, which isn't super exciting. But this guy in the middle right here is our head of research at Go Spot Check. But he also does a bunch of stuff on the side. He tells me that he works at Go Spot Check to, pay the bills, and then he has these really cool organizations that he started on the side in his free time. And he was the principal research scientist at MIT Department of Earth, Atmosphere, and Planetary Science, which is really cool. He's way smarter than I am. And he did a bunch of research using computer vision on the role of aerosols in climate change, which is really cool. He also did a really cool project with mass extinction. So he's able to identify extinct species, which is really cool, using computer vision. So what would take one person working nonstop for 24 hours a day for 15 years takes about 29 days to do with Sloop is what he named his app that does all this, or his program. He doesn't call it an app. So I think that's really cool and really impressive. Another issue, obviously, is malaria. And nearly half the world's population is at risk of malaria, which I had no idea about. In 2015 alone, there were 212 million malaria cases and almost 500,000 malaria deaths. So in Africa, they developed this application where they can report malaria outbreaks. So before this app, it would take 4 weeks for any aid, like mosquito nets or anything like that, to arrive. And now it takes 3 minutes, which is insane. Or for them to report that there's a malaria outbreak. And it's really helped reduce the risk of malaria and dropped it by 29% in this area where they're using these apps. So I think that's really awesome to hear. And the HP's Director of Global Health says that this is an example of how technology can play in improving public health, global health, all of that. And goes on to say that all of these people have access to mobile phones. And how much good can we do, with that type of power? So how many people are familiar with the term social entrepreneurship? Okay, a couple. Basically, it's capitalism and doing good is how I see it. A good example of this, I'm sure everyone has heard of Tom's Shoes, and they're a really great example of it. They make $400 million in revenue, but every shoe that they make, they donate shoes to someone in need in Africa, which is really cool. And the rise of the B Corp is happening. I know a lot of companies who are going this route. And basically, instead of like an LLC or something like that, you're certified as a B Corp, and you have to meet certain standards of social and environmental like performance, accountability, transparency, that sort of thing. It's a really cool thing, and I know a few companies who are starting to do this who are really successful. And you don't have to be a B Corp or a social venture to do something good. You can donate your employees' time, skills, resources, all of that. I know Bill Gates talks about this stuff a lot. And at Go Spot Check, we have something called the Do Good platform. And we are not a social venture, we are not a B Corp, but we try to do something good as much as we can. This is a picture where we were at Pride Parade in Denver. Our whole company came to support the cause. We also donate our product. We are working with an organization in Denver to help them, and we've donated not only our app, but customer success and our customer success managers, like people who work with the clients, to work with them. And we also try to spend our money consciously. We look at the manufacturers who are making our t-shirts. We make sure that they're not being made in sweatshops. All the food that we buy, we make sure it's like, we try to be local, organic, the whole Colorado thing, and making sure that the money we're spending is, going to the right places, because spending is a really big thing and a good way to make a difference. Spending it in the right places. We also provide board member training for our employees. So not only are we going to teach you how to code or do your job better, we're also going to train you of how to make a difference in a nonprofit. So we have a couple people who have gone through this and applied and actually got onto nonprofit boards in Denver. So it's important to not just give money, but give time, and not just like send a couple employees to volunteer every once in a while. Like really build this into your values and your cultures. So Bill Gates, again, technology is really unlocking the innate compassion we have for our fellow human beings, and that seems to be a big theme of today. And that technology may be the biggest tool that we have. So how many people here have attended a hackathon? A lot of you, okay. Or ever worked on a side project or a side app? So pretty much everyone. So maybe next time you do one of those, think about doing something in this realm. Think about doing something that actually solves a bigger problem. Be a part of something bigger than yourself. You could literally be that person that changes millions of lives. You could write the code for that app that's like, getting malaria response rates down. That's literally saving lives. You could be the one that saves the planet. You can solve real problems. So whether it's world hunger, climate change, education, the list goes on and on. But I think it's important that we do this, coming from the Ruby community. And like I said, today it's been a really awesome day to hear about how people are doing such great things in the Ruby community. And we come from a community that has such a passion for people and solving problems like these. And there's a lot of nonprofits like Ruby Together. We all want to support each other. So, what's a better way than actually writing code that's doing something? And also working for the right company. We're really lucky that we can choose where we work, and we have a lot of options. So make sure that you're working somewhere that your values align and that they're wanting to be better and do the socially conscious right thing. And stick to our values, whether you're working for a company that that your values don't align, or working on a product where your values don't align. Donate your time and money to causes that you truly care about, and stand up for our why. I stole that from you, Ernie, so thank you. And let's challenge ourselves to tackle these problems and write code that actually matters and change the world. So I'm curious if anyone has a story or an example, if they've ever done something in a hackathon or on their own, on their own that made a difference, or something that they have done. I'm really hoping that someone raises their hand. Yeah, back there.
So, example is, in this we have an annual hackathon specifically for nonprofits.
Oh, awesome.
Actually, it's been
That's awesome. That's a really good example. Yes, Adam.
So we work with a company called OneSight, which is probably they're the Tom Shoes of eyeglassware.
Oh, cool.
So we worked with them to implement basically some JavaScript facial recognition. It was a marketing firm that had created this video of like the everyday, it was like a day in the life of a 10-year-old girl. And then we worked with them to integrate some technology that would do facial recognition to simulate what it would be like being nearsighted but never having the ability to see. Like,
Cool.
so the closer your face got, you could see it would come into focus. The farther away it got, it would go out of focus. They distributed something like 500 million pairs of glasses or something like that in a given year. So
That's
that was
so.
probably one of the most purposeful projects our company and as an individual has ever worked on.
That's so awesome. So, and yeah, didn't it feel you? I'm sure. Did you get paid for it, or was it pro bono?
Yeah, I mean there was some compensation, but by and large it was pro bono.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Yeah.
There was one program I was involved with for a little while. I think knowledge sharing is something we all enjoy, especially all you guys that come up here and speak and give presentations. There's this one program called Cool Kids Code, and you're just taking these like really rambunctious, energetic 8 and 10-year-olds, maybe even younger, I don't remember, but and it was just kind of teaching them coding aspects, but without actually using computers. And so you could do like fun little relay races that would kind of, emulate how a DNS lookup is. And
That's
so
cool.
you can kind of instill all those little things in their head at an early age in a fun environment, so that later on down the road, it might click with them and be like, oh, I remember that fun thing. Maybe it is cool to code.
That's awesome. Really cool. Yeah. One more.
So I'm from Memphis, and I participated in the Give Camp hackathon. And one year we built, me and this one other guy built this thing called We Sustain Shelby. And it was the government came to Give Camp and wanted a kind of gamified web application to help the entire Shelby County area, Memphis area, go green. And so there are these
Cool.
challenges out there that you're able to do, whether it's go walk for 5 miles or go empty X amount of bottles, and you report those, and each have like a bounty on them. And like at the end of every week, there is a prize. There are like raffles. If you completed X amount of challenges and got X amount of points, you're in this raffle for this prize. And so I forget the statistics, but a lot of people completed these challenges, and the sustainability for the entire county was rose that year. So
That's so cool. God, great stories. Okay, really quick.
Has anybody heard of the U.S. Digital Service?
Yeah.
Cool. So I actually did that about 2 years ago. I took 90 days off my job, and I was actually a VA employee in Veterans Affairs, and I got to help with like finding ways within that agency to better provide benefits to veterans, and turns out government IT is a full mess in like every agency. And definitely, just to keep it short, go check it out. They still need awesome talented people, engineers, technical program managers. There's also part of the GSA called 18F, and they do it's like an IT consulting development organization within the government. So they do all kinds of awesome work. There's also an organization called Coach for America, kind of distributed across the country, and do kind of state level IT engineering projects for apps that have impact on communities all across the country. So I'm happy to talk about it later. Take time.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw one more hand in the back.
We sponsored a nonprofit. We created a nonprofit called Women in Construction. It tries to address gender imbalances in the construction industry.
Oh,
it's
cool.
actually kind of modeled off a lot of the great work that program communities, especially the Ruby community, have done to address gender disparities in the tech community.
That's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing your story. I was worried, when you put slides like that in, you're like, God, no one is going to say anything. So that's really cool to hear those stories and projects that you all have worked on too. And, oops, I went too far. Before we break, I want to challenge you all to either get a piece of paper or open your phone and something that you want to start doing. So I made this list yesterday. So my bottom one is like my long-term goal. I want to start my own social venture, but I also want to start doing more with Kubmo, organize a hackathon at work that where I choose a problem that I'm passionate about. And then also just like take things off my plate so that I can do a side project in this realm. And those are my goals. So I would encourage you all to do the same. And if you want to hold yourself accountable, because that's why I put this up here. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be accountable. Hopefully, you know, Ernie or Jenny, whenever they see me, they're like, oh, hey, like, how's that going taking stuff off your plate? How are things going with Kubmo, to keep me in check and remind me that this is my why and what I want to do. So tweet me if you want to be held accountable, and inspire others who you work with to do the same thing. This is my Twitter handle. It's easy, my name. But Bill Gates, to close this, said, if you write great code, I encourage you to learn more about the problems of the poorest and see how you can help. Thank you.